Don't wanna fix you, I know you're scared. Being without you just won't compare to the way your voice sounds in my head, the way you feel in my bed. Go chase the waves in California, send a postcard from Tijuana. Whatever miles walked in those shoes, trace the lines on your tattoos. If you're gonna leave, why don't you with a little love? Whoa. If you're gonna go, I'll be waiting for you when you get home. Wanna be your hideaway, your saving grace. You leave it for a rainy day, so you wanna be, don't be anything but mine. The writing's on the wall, said you leave it. There's no one to blame, girl, you need this. Distance is part-time goodbye when your heart is on standby. If you're gonna leave, why don't you with a little love? Oh, if you're gonna go, be your hideaway, your saving grace. You leave it for a rainy day, so go. I'll be waiting for you. Go. If I had my way, make you stay. I've got my ways to medicate, so go. I'll be waiting for you. Go.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Buzz Talk Live. A small town kid with big city dreams, singer-songwriter, actor, and producer Dom Colizzi found his voice at a young age after experiencing dramatic turn of events while attending high school. As a teenager, he battled severe depression and a speech impediment, falling victim to bullying. Then a high school experience changed his life direction, where his life has turned into an independent short film, Somebody's Hero. In 2016, Dom worked on additional movie soundtracks and had the opportunity to work hand in hand with Hollywood composer and producer William Cameri. He was also featured as a lead actor in Stormlight's Pictures series 12. Dom produces his own videos, music videos, and is signed as a composer-producer with the scorekeepers for Sync Licensing, crafting original music that helps tell stories. Today, Dom continues to entertain his audiences with his National Independent Anti-Bullying Tour, where he shares his story to inspire and encourage today's youth. So please chat and welcome Dom Colizzi to Buzz Talk Live. How you doing, Dom?
Good, George. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good, man. Well, right off the bat, I got to say you're not in front of a computer.
I'm not.
And I'm rolling with the punches here because you're gigging, right? You're busy.
It's busy, man. We tried to plan it. We were coming out of a show at Hampton Beach, and I was hoping that we were going to make it back to the studio in time, but got caught in beach traffic, so we're rolling with it.
Hey, man, you're still here on Buzz Talk Live, and that's all that matters. And you're traveling on the road, and I'm sure you're riding shotgun. So who's driving?
I got my wife is driving. Got kids in the back. I got a 4-month-old that could cry at any point. So we got a bubby ready at any point for whatever we need to roll with.
I love it. I love it. A young father, a young parent, and that's great. So, you know what? Look, you got to make do what you have, and where life takes you at the moment, right? And you're gigging, and you'll put your word out there, and people listening to your music, and that's all that matters, man. But hey, listen, I got so much to say about what you're a part of and what you stand for and advocate for, which is awesome. So
Thanks,
you're originally from Maine, right?
Originally from Maine, grew up here for 19 years, then moved out to LA, and then LA to Nashville.
And LA to Nashville. Wow. Okay. So throughout that time, I mean, and you're young, so throughout that time, you're finding your voice, right? So it started really well. We're gonna talk about high school, and the experience you had there, but just here, where you found your voice, traveling from Maine to LA to Nashville. So did it start out like country, and then it kind of morphed into some other stuff?
Yeah. So essentially, I always had a love for country music. I love the way you can tell a story. So already coming in as a songwriter, I had gone to a lot of concerts, like seeing Sugarland, and it was like there was just something about a country music concert that really inspired me. So I ended up doing my first couple singles in LA. Right. And then, pursued country, moving to Nashville. Right. But then in Nashville is really where I started finding pop and like the love for producing and writing pop music. Really? So it was kind of backwards.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because usually you would think country is Nashville's all about, and and that's crazy. So, all right. So let's get the technical stuff out of the way. Because you might drop out on me any given time. We might actually lose sunlight. so we're gonna try to back ourselves up here with lights in the car and microphones and all this other good stuff. So we're gonna roll with it, folks. So if Dom leaves us for a second, hang in there. We'll reconnect and we'll continue. But so let's talk about your high school days briefly. I mean, that was a real wild time in your life, because I mean, you had issues, right, with a speech impediment, and then you were a football player, right? You were.
Yeah, man. I went into high school playing ball. Very, very big into sports. Right. That was my big thing in middle school. I mean, honestly, growing up, I didn't even think I had a speech impediment until like high school, because everyone's kind of weird in middle school. Like everyone looks awkward, ears are too big. Like no one's really bringing out that stuff, and social media was big, but it was like MySpace days. So like things weren't as out there as they are now, where like people will call out anybody on Facebook or Twitter in a moment's notice. Yeah. So back then it was like, I didn't even know I had any issues with speech until going into high school, when I realized, hey, I talk different than a lot of these kids.
Well, what about your parents? I mean, was your parents aware of the issues, or did they not make light of it, or tell you?
So I went to speech pathology when I was like really little, but it was like a vague memory, just learning to talk. And when I stopped going, I guess I thought this is how I'm supposed to speak. Wow. I didn't know that I was tongue tied. Like it wasn't really a thing. I guess they check in babies now if you are tongue tied, so they can snip it really early, so they don't have that mobility issue later on in life.
Right.
So they've kind of advanced the medical aspect of it, but at the time, I was just kind of dealing with it.
So you had to have surgery to correct this.
That's correct. Yeah.
Wow. And
so I mean, it was really simple though. It was one of those, like, you could have just numbed my tongue and just used some scissors and just snip it. It was more of the recovery that was the rougher part. The surgery itself they numb me up. 30 seconds later, they cut the tongue, and it was free game.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to get into the technical aspects of the surgery, but is it a muscle that's under the tongue that,
Yes.
that they have to snip?
Yeah, so it's literally that little cord that when you lift your tongue, that cord that sits right there. Mine was too far forward. So if it's too far forward, it got rid of all my mobility to be able to, you know, move the tongue in the correct placement to pronounce a word correctly.
I got you.
So that's why I had to learn to speak out the side of my mouth. And with that became, you know, the lisp. And then the stutter came from realizing that I was different, realizing that I had a speech issue. And when it came down to reading aloud in class, I just panicked because I knew that kids weren't, you know, they were listening to it and they were aware of it. And that became very self-conscious for me. So I developed this anxiety-driven stutter.
Wow. Yeah. So that, I mean, again, you know, once you don't have the mobility of one, it affects the other part of the speech, which would be, like you said, you're talking out of the side of your mouth, which it's incredible. I mean, you got actors out there that James Cagney, he made a career out of talking out of the side of his mouth. You know, no, but you know, not to make light of it, but you know, it's to go and to go through high school, you know, like that, and being involved with sports, and then you picked up music, and you come from a musical family.
Right. Yeah. My dad plays piano, organ by ear, and my mom was trained. I guess you could say classically trained reading music. So I started playing piano at the age of 7.
So yeah. That's definitely in you. And then, you know, and it's a great way of learning and writing songs and getting your chops down. I mean, you know, on a piano, man, that's where you want to be. That's where you want to start at, obviously. But, you know, then you were how did this whole, this independent film, because, you know, you were teased and you went through that whole trial and tribulation in high school, and how did the producers, or how did this independent film come into your life?
Sure. So Zane Stevens was down in Atlanta, and he gave me a call one day and said that he was looking to produce a short film about it, like a true story. He wanted to work on it. So he had heard about my story, and it was like kind of just in the running. So I ended up just telling him my story. I was like, look, this is what happened. You know, I got a football injury. Football injury turned into teaching myself guitar and getting into like dancing, music, you know, acting, everything, doing musicals in school. Yeah. And that's when, you know, he said that he picked my story and he'd like me to be a part of it. And if you watch the film, I actually do a little cameo in it towards the end as one of the kids in the lunchroom when he was running out as me. So, you know, it's just little fun stuff.
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
And I wanted to produce a soundtrack to it, man. It was like one of the things where I knew I wanted to be part of the film. Right. And it was interesting watching someone else, you know, play me.
Portray you, right? And I mean, Zane Stevens, I mean, my God, Vampire Diaries, right? He's a known actor. And he picked up, you know, this directing role and made this film. It's incredible. And I do have a little trailer. I have a trailer which I'm going to show, and then I'm going to show a clip from the film. So let's look at the trailer.
My name is Dominic Colizzi. This kid can't even talk.
You suck.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, a lot went into that production value too. It looks good. So let's take a look at, and this is the opening scene of the film, and it takes you into just a few minutes of the film I want to show, just to kind of set the film idea, and then we'll talk about it.
Sounds great.
Look at those ears. I wonder if he's channeling Mars with those things.
Next? Who's next?
So it's true. He is a faggot.
My name is Dominic Colizzi. This kid can't even talk.
So you're auditioning for Sebastian, right? Whenever you're ready.
You suck.
Dominic, right? You had a great audition. Need a hall pass. Here. Hey, you should come back next period. Or I'll have a class.
Think you won't have anything, Twitter? And you're told to take that mic, I'm gonna tell everyone how much of a pansy you are. Walk your back, fag.
Hey, you all right?
Wow. It looks good. That looks really good. So
Thanks, man.
That was done in 2016.
Yeah.
And so how accurate is that? How you were you portrayed? Was it pretty accurate?
So they used kind of the LA dramatization of like the demons that I faced.
Oh, okay.
You know, where you know, not everything was as direct. A lot of it was very subdued. A lot of that stuff really did happen, though. You know, getting choked against a locker,
Right,
you know,
right,
being
right.
called a faggot, you know,
Right.
the different issues that there were a lot of things that he
Sure.
touched on that really did happen. But of course, with every movie, everything is a little bit LA dramatized.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
that would be kind of the only thing that I would say about that is there was a lot of accurate representation, but it was a little bit more subdued in real life.
All right. Well, I mean, we are starting to see the sunset and the little break up in picture a little bit, but Are you hanging in there? I mean, it looks like you have some light on in the car. So
yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
still
it's just the signal's a little unstable, but that's okay. We'll continue.
I apologize, man.
No, don't apologize. All right, so so with that, you basically now you had a football injury that kind of sidelined you, and you just couldn't go back to playing, or is it?
Yes. So essentially, I broke my knee the same time I broke my ribs, bruised my sternum. It was like it was kind of a big injury that doctors recommended that I didn't finish out the freshman season of football.
Right.
So it was one of those things where like I have to recover the next few months anyway. So I started to, in a sneaky way, skip football practice to say I had like doctor's visits, and I went and auditioned for the school play.
Oh, got you.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna say I probably did it to myself, but it was something that I didn't confront. It was like, look, I'm not even gonna be able to play this year. I need to find something to do.
Exactly.
And I started to do music. And when they found out that I made the school musical and I was skipping football to go dance on stage, it just started. It started the beginning of the next 4 years of kind of torture.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, that's what an experience, man. I mean, sorry you had to go through that, and but look. School's tough. I mean, the whole peer pressure thing and kids in high school and it's tough, and it's sad that other kids pick on you for certain things and
being different.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate, man, but hey, look,
but you know what, it's like I always said, one day I'm going to write a book, and I got this tattoo, right? And the tattoo says my story isn't over.
Okay.
And with this tattoo about my story isn't over with a semicolon, it has all these different meanings. A semicolon to represent suicide awareness.
Right.
And then my story isn't over, literally meaning that you might be going through some tough stuff. Like you might have a really rough chapter in your life.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that page will turn.
Exactly.
That chapter will end.
That's right.
A new chapter will come into play.
That's right.
And you haven't even written the best parts of your story yet.
That's right. Well said.
So, those years are just some chapters that most people want to forget. And I use it as a reminder of where I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. So true. And spoken at such a young age, a very adult perspective on your life, which is really cool. Your
Thanks,
mom
man.
and dad.
I feel old, so I appreciate that.
Your mom and dad really did a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, with your fresh abilities of playing music, and you did that was you on the piano, right? You composed some of the music.
Yeah.
And so that was really well done. And it looks like I'm a little bit delayed now. I don't know. We got some demons going here tonight. But anyway, so when you after that and you kind of like got your chops down and playing music and everything, you kind of like you started out with country, and then you would, like you said, you were finding your voice, and you went out to L.A. Or was it L.A. and then Nashville, or how did that?
Yeah, L.A. then to Nashville.
L.A. to
because when I went out to L.A., I had sang for Randy Jackson, and when I sang for Randy Jackson at a random coffee shop, he loved my voice, but he said, "Look, if you want longevity in this career, go be a songwriter, go be a producer, and be able to be that Swiss Army knife that's capable of not just being a good voice, but you're valuable as a writer. So why not move to the songwriting mecca of the country, which was Nashville? Is Nashville?
Yeah, it definitely is. And by you moving there, it really made you focus on composing and everything. And but you didn't drop your your ability to sing, and you have an incredible voice. It's so great.
Thanks, man.
I mean, what do you compare? Who's your inspirations?
Justin Timberlake.
Sure.
For sure.
Sure.
A lot of Justin Timberlake. Ryan Tedder, who is the lead singer of One Republic.
Oh, One Republic.
So he writes so many #1 hits, so many, just the incredible producer. So a lot of my songwriting and producing comes from Ryan, but my vocal chops, I get compared to Justin Timberlake a lot.
So
which is good.
Yeah, no, which is, are you kidding me?
I'll take that all day. Yeah.
Take it all day, twice on Sunday.
Right.
But as far as like when you were young, listen to me, but when you were coming in and fresh new, and you have a voice, obviously, and when you auditioned when you were still living in Maine for X Factor.
Yeah, so I did X Factor and I represented Maine in 2012, somewhere in that region.
Okay.
So I had gone down to Connecticut and I auditioned, but so I made it through like the first day in Connecticut. I'm all excited. I'm like, I'm gonna get to sing for Simon Cowell. I can't wait.
Right.
And I prepared my song. I'm ready to go. I go and sing for like the preliminary judges that are supposed to tell you like, okay, you're good to go. Go sing for Simon. And they're like, no, I'm not feeling it, dude. And I went home. I was like, I was shocked. I was devastated. I was like, I'm not going to sing anymore. I'm done. Like, I got my tongue cut. I got, I fixed my speech impediment. Like, I did this to really pursue a music career.
Sure.
And here I was thinking like, dude, I suck. Like, pack up, go home, find a new job, do something different. But there was something in the back of my mind that's like, dude, you're going to hear so many no's.
That's right.
So many no's in everything in life.
That's
so
right.
why not pursue something that you love?
Yep.
Because there's so many obstacles in the world. Let's not make a job be one of them.
Exactly. You got the right approach, because it's so easy to fold, under those circumstances. Having somebody of that stature say, I'm not feeling it, next, you hear all these stories, right? And it's like, and it's so true. But you have to, dust yourself off and you gotta keep moving forward, because if this is something that you really love to do in life and you're good at it, then you gotta keep going, and you can't listen to the negatives. You gotta keep going forward, and that day will come where somebody's gonna listen to you, and somebody's gonna say, "Wow, this kid is really, really good." And
Thanks,
I'm sure it's happening. Because now that was 2012. You look how you progressed for all these years prior to that, and just listening to your stuff, I think you're really, really good, and I think that if you haven't gone any place yet, you're going to be going places. But
Thanks,
I want to.
As you can tell, I travel a lot of miles. I just haven't.
Yeah, you do.
Got those miles in the industry.
You do, absolutely. The opening video of tonight's show, Anything But Mine. You wrote that, or is that something?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, I wrote that, produced it, everything.
Right, and that's really cool, man. I mean, this is, now you wrote this at what year did you
2016.
write? 2016. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was looking at, you showed the video and I started realizing I put on some COVID weight. So I was like, man, I was pretty lean back then. I'm like a good 25 pounds heavier now. Like,
yeah.
I gotta hit the gym, man. I gotta hit the gym.
Yeah, you got to hit the gym for sure. So do I.
Had more hair. It was more luscious. I'm like, man, what are kids? I blame it on the kids, man.
Blame it on
Makes
the
me
kids.
go gray.
Yeah, please don't even go there. So all right, so you did that, which is awesome. You've been doing singles. You haven't really completed an album yet, right?
Well, I did a EP right around that year. That it's like still out there on YouTube, but I said I wouldn't bring up old management. I'm not gonna, but there was a Christian manager that wanted to like break me in Christian music, and I'm like, I'm all for it. Like, I'm a Christian. I love that music. I grew up on it.
Sure.
I grew up in church,
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, I love the stories that are told with that. So I was willing to do it. But I had a couple pop R&B songs on there that are a little bit, this little Justin Timberlake, man. It's like a little sexy back.
Yeah, right.
And he told me to take it down. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to cause any issues. Like it's brand new out in the world. Not many people have heard it yet. I'll just take it down. Sure. Well, immediately after I took it down, we had a falling out, and I was like, dude, this is not for me. I want a different career path. And I was like, I'm not even going to bother to put it back up.
Look, sometimes it's a bad mix,
Sure.
And not that it's a bad thing, Christian music, because some of these artists are incredibly talented,
right.
and they, their singing is just off the charts.
Torrin Wells is just a big inspiration to mine as a singer, vocalist, just incredible. Right. I'm pretty sure he's out of Nashville too.
Right. I think everybody's out of Nashville
nowadays, man.
It's incredible.
Yeah, well, you know what was a big break? Why people were moving to Nashville from LA? Not only price, right?
Yeah.
But it was they passed a law in the music industry that you couldn't just hire somebody else to play guitar. You now had to hire them for like a month and offer them benefits.
Oh, really?
So now it's like, you got to think about how much money you're paying out now to an employee rather than just doing a pay to play. So a lot of these guys were like, well, hey, I can have, in today's modern society, I can just quickly just go to Nashville and get all these things done and just send the stems out to an engineer in LA and won't make any difference.
Damn.
So a lot of the big pop community started moving out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, if they open the door for that stuff, it's everybody's just going to come to Nashville, and I think everybody is. It's either they're even moving to Nashville, Texas, or Florida.
Yeah,
well, in these times, because it's opened up.
Right.
I mean, look, I think that the music industry decimated. Like mine industry decimated. But now it's coming back, right? That's a good thing, and people are still being safe. And do you see an uptick in performances and getting your word out there? Because you also public speak. That's something that I want to touch on, because I want to listen to your message, because it's important that you are an artist, and where you came from. And finding your voice, and what happened to you lends you, that public speaking arena, that you can tell your story, and in front of youth, in front of high school students, right? Is that what you do?
Yeah. So I started that tour, I think, in 2014, 2015. Somewhere in that region of just moving to Nashville. Right. It was even before we did the Zane Stevens short film. I just wanted to go around and talk to kids about my story. That was it. Like, I just wanted to go to high schools and middle schools and talk to the kids about how people that can be perceived as different, for whatever the reason is, doesn't give them a reason to treat them poorly or to make that child feel ostracized or any of those reasons. So it started as that. But what it very quickly became was more of an inspirational thing, far more than just an anti-bullying message. So we started giving the opportunity for these kids to go on my website and share their story with me anonymously. And when we gave them that option, the kids blew me away.
Wow.
What these kids are going through that you would have never known. I mean, dude, an entire auditorium of kids that are going through the same things, but they all thought that they were the only ones going through it.
Now, because of your bringing this into light and you advocate for it, you saved somebody's life, didn't you? There's a story there.
There's been a couple instances that I've had to play Clark Kent and save the day. Okay, the first one was saving a puppy that its head was stuck in a window when I was driving to the gym, and I looked over and I saw a puppy's head hanging from a window from a hot car. Can't make that up.
Wow.
So I pulled over, saved the puppy. Second time, I was in Disney in Orlando.
Yeah.
And the trolley was coming, and these people were ordering a churro. And while these parents were ordering a churro, they weren't paying attention to the child in the little stroller. And the stroller was on a little ramp. And that stroller went chugging. So I dropped everything, ran and grabbed the child while they were, like, the trolley was coming.
Right.
Ran back and put it, like, right where the parents were. And everyone was, like, freaking out, all excited. I swear I just blacked out. Like, it just happened. I saved this child. And people were like, oh my God, you're a hero. And I don't even really remember it. It just, I know it happened. I didn't even get a free churro out of it. It's okay. Disney, you owe me a churro. But I saved this kid. And then the third time was on my tour. And on my tour, I went to this school, and it was a half day. And I told my message. And at the end of the assembly, this girl came up and gave me a big hug. She was just full of tears, and she just ran off, which it happens. I get some people are shy, whatever it might be. They're going through some stuff. They're not ready to talk about it. It's okay. Well, I went back 2 years later to that same school to talk to another kind of like influx of students going through with a little bit, different message, still inspirational, touch on, still my story. Well, I saw that same girl, full of tears again, gives me a big hug and runs off. So I stopped one of her friends, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, does she need someone to talk to? And what I found out was that on that half day 2 years ago, that she had removed all her things from the locker. Wow. And she was going to go home and kill herself.
Oh my God.
And she decided to just go to this random assembly and see what this kid's talking about. And the story touched her enough where she put her stuff back in her locker and found a reason to keep going and to go seek help and get help with her depression. And she realized that she wasn't alone. So I don't want to say that I saved her. I saved that puppy. I saved that baby, but I didn't save her. I believe I had the story, and I went there on the right day.
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of showed her something, and you redirected her life in that moment, and that saved her. Look at you, football player, Superman.
I try telling my kids how cool I am. They don't believe it.
Yeah, they don't believe it. I don't know. They're still with the bottles, right? They have bottles. How young?
I've got a 9-year-old.
Oh, you got a 9-year-old.
Almost 5-year-old.
Oh, okay.
And my 4-month-old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, your 9-year-old, forget it. I mean, he's all grown up now, right? He's telling you what to do.
Yeah, I'm not cool.
Yeah,
I'm not cool.
Exactly. You're not
he was trying to tell me about, like, he said, this was just last week. He goes, Dad, I want to teach you how to throw the baseball. And I said, teach me how to throw the baseball, son. Like, what did you think I did growing up? And he was convinced that I had never thrown a baseball. So we went out and we were playing catch, and we were throwing the ball around. And he goes, Dad, I got to be honest. You didn't seem like the type that could throw a baseball. I'm like, man, I'm just never going to be cool to you.
Hey, what's this Red Rum tour stuff that?
The Red Rum Tour we were doing with Bacardi last year, and we were supposed to take it from Maine all the way down to Nashville, and then across the country, anywhere like tropical, on the beach, whatever. COVID shut us down, as with everything else. But we got one tour date in Nashville before we had to kind of shut it down. So this year, I'm actually working on revamping the whole thing, and
cool.
Trying to get it,
yeah, man,
along the coast, all these different places. But the Red Rum Festival is really like an American music festival that I want to bring some of my friends from Nashville, LA, Atlanta, New York, You know, I don't want it to be genre specific. I want it to be, and it was also based around my Red Rum single. So I released a song called Red Rum that was supposed to base my tour off of and be the theme song. Well, when you don't have a tour, the song doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know.
So it tanked, man. Like everyone's like, what's with the Red Rum song? I was like, what's it about? I was like, dude, it was supposed to be this tour, Bacardi. I had this whole idea.
Right.
So I'm hoping it gets a little second life. But
it will.
You know, I released it, and with COVID, I didn't even get a music video to it. So it's just out there in the world, and everyone like, it's like, cool, it sounds good, but what's it for?
Yeah, right. Slowly, another single. And also original. You writing. Look at you and producing the music here. And you're taking this on, and this is new, right? This is
pretty recent.
Yeah, pretty recent stuff. And I think I saw some extra dates. I don't have them on here, but if you want to say that, but you know, this is a tour that's what is it, up and down the East Coast there, it looks like? Or? Yeah, pretty much Bangor down to Hampton Beach. So one of those additional dates is the reason why I'm in a vehicle right now. It ended up popping in, and I was like, you know, I was so convinced I was going to end the show early. I was going to just rush through it. And the minute we got on that beach traffic in Hampton, it was done for. Yeah, so ended up doing the interview in the car. Hey,
but
man,
you know what?
look, you're here, right?
I said, right. And I said, George will remember me. Like,
that's right.
You said I'm like the 93rd or whatever it is interview.
You're in my 94th.
I have to be memorable.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely memorable.
The guy in the car. Yeah. The Red Rum guy in the car.
In the dark.
He can't throw a baseball. I heard he can't throw a ball.
Yeah, you can't throw a ball. So where does your inspiration come from these songs? I mean, obviously you can draw from your experience back then, but you know that has now, you know, you've kind of cleared that somewhat in your life, but you still, obviously you advocate for it, and you're on a speaking tour about that too. But you know, music, where do you draw your inspiration for your lyrics and everything?
So a lot of the music I write, you know, is influenced around a concept or a story. Right. So not necessarily everything that I write about I've gone through. You know, it kind of comes with being an actor. Right. You have to put yourself in that position and that perspective and think about who your audience is and the direction you're trying to take. So Slowly is actually a true story about when my wife and I were going through a long distance relationship between Maine and Nashville.
Oh, wow.
And we were like in the midst of a breakup just from the stress of the long distance, and you know, I'm doing music down here and following a career and all that stuff. And she ended up flying to Nashville, and even after the argument, and she flew to Nashville and she went to Broadway. And when she went to Broadway, she was, how do I word it? Essentially, she knew that she was not going to be able to come to Nashville without me, like, falling head over heels to make sure I come see her. We had this like breakup moment, and I chased her down Broadway. Like, I'm literally running in boots, sweating my butt off, trying to find her. And when I found her, I went running up to her, put her in my arms, and it was like a Nicholas Sparks movie, man. And it was like, it ever since that moment, we've been together ever since. It was just one of those.
She liked that,
you know. So kiss me slowly, because you know time moves so fast, and that's where I drew the inspiration with that line. And when I say, you know, from Broadway to the runway, it's because it was from the city to the airport.
Awesome. Well, that's a great setup to the clip of Slowly. Let's take a look.
Like a cheap shot, straight to my blind side. I caved in, gave you my whole night. But even the river runs, gone by the morning sun. I'm racing time. From Broadway to the runway, I daydreamed of a someday that you ain't leaving the spot. Try to rewind the clock, your hands in mine. 'Cause wanting something I can't have, I can never grasp. I can love with a broken heart. I gotta put this thing to rest. All the words unsaid. Baby, I'll do my part. If you want me to be what you need me to be, baby, don't turn around. And time moves so fast, so kiss me slowly, slowly. Ignore the warnings, now I'm worn out. I chased a trail, let my heart out. But even the river runs, the river still runs. Oh. 'Cause wanting something I can't have, I can never grasp. I can love with a broken heart. I gotta put this thing to rest. All the words unsaid. Baby, I'll do my part. If you want me to be what you need me to be, baby, don't turn around. And time moves so fast, so kiss me slowly, slowly. I tore every clock off your walls, 'cause time couldn't heal it all. I found my way back to the start.
Nice, man. That's great. What a great sound. Great
Thanks,
sound, man. And emotion, you know, emotions there, and the performance. Where was that filmed? Where
Right in Nashville.
Oh, that was right now.
Yeah, we filmed it a few months ago, and I know I was in a t-shirt, but it was actually freezing. It was like 20 degrees. And I'm
you
so
can't
glad
show
I
that you're
kept my
freezing.
composure.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, I was nipping so hard. I was so worried it was gonna shoot right through my shirt, man.
Yeah. So in the course of whatever months, you know, within this year of lockdown, and I mean, a lot of people have been really redirecting their life and doing something that they really haven't done, and so, like, you know, writing is picked up for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've been writing. I've got so many songs to release to the world.
Wow.
So I'm excited, man.
Oh, that's
for
cool,
a long
man.
time.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
waited. I waited.
Yeah. And now your latest single is Demons, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
that's
Demons,
a cool one for me, man.
And Demons is as it is in the title, it's again, you know, you're drawing from your high school days and the demons that you're fighting.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really cool, and I have this clip that it's an instrumental, right, version of this song, or no, not an instrumental.
The acoustic one.
The acoustic one, right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So that was to show that you know, kind of a different take on it from because the original version is very lo-fi produced pop. And I wanted to have, you know, a nice acoustic version,
yeah.
you know, with just acoustic guitar and a bass.
Yeah, nice. All right, let's take a look at Demons.
Where did the time go? 'Cause it seems to pass so fast, like a river flowing into open water, baby, make it fast, making my mind flow, and my thoughts are in the past. Picture perfect, was it worth it? Going through all these photographs. Is it working? Are they swerving? Are you hurting from the nerves where you think of me like I think of you? Where did all these demons come from? 'Cause they've been calling, they've been haunting my every move since we've been through. Where did all these demons come from? 'Cause this is painful and I'm not able to close my eyes and think of you. Where do we go where demons won't follow? Maybe it's just me staring at my phone, fingers waiting to dial, thinking I could tell you how much that I've grown. If you would only tell me where I went wrong, this could all be undone, and we'd be moving on. Is it working, all the swerving? Are you hurting from the nerves when you think of me like I think of you? Oh, where did all these demons come from? 'Cause they've been calling, they've been haunting my every move since we've been through. Where did all these demons come from? This is painful and I'm not able to close my eyes and think of you. Where do we go where demons won't follow, won't follow? Where do we go where demons won't follow, won't follow?
Nice. Very nice. Excellent job, man. I tell you, the listening to you, it's such a fresh, new voice of
Thanks,
singing, and every song there, there's you could see where the direction is in your voice, and where it starts and where it goes, and the highs, the lows. You got it going on, man. Really, really do.
Thank
hey,
you.
what what has music given you as far as a because look, to be honest, you started out as a football player, and then look, right? I mean, but your parents were in music, your mom, like you said, and I mean, back then you really weren't thinking of music, and now music is now a part of your life. Obviously, you're in a car coming from a gig.
Well, man, so I went to a Sugarland concert when I was 16.
Okay.
And it was at the Augusta Civic Center in Augusta, Maine. And at the Civic Center, I was in the nosebleeds, and I watched Matt Nathanson, who had his big single "Come On Get Higher" at the time, and he was opening for them. And he just went out with his acoustic guitar and he sang "Come On Get Higher," and he hit this high falsetto note, and it gave me chills. Still gives me chills to this day. I play the song every show, and I said, I want to do that the rest of my life. Like, I want that moment. I want that moment. I want to have that impact on a kid. And that's really what started it. Was 16, going through the things that I was going through, not able to even talk like other kids. Dude, I was pretty tone deaf too at the time. Like, it took.
Sure. It affects everything.
I wasn't just giving it.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
it's a muscle.
It affects everything. Your hearing, your vocals, and to clean all that up with surgery. And how long did it take from your surgical procedure to when you were actually singing?
So I have videos that I can look back on that I thought I had corrected my speech impediment, and I actually didn't. I just had this whole new confidence. It was like,
oh wow,
nothing was going to stand in my way, and I still battled it. But to me, it was like this brand new start where like nothing was going to stop me. Like, I'm living in LA, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm playing shows. Right. Yeah. And it was better, far better than it was. And I was working on my stutter. So, I wasn't even going through my stutter now. Like, I had this brand new swag, and I just felt great. But listening back, I'm like, dude, you were struggling. Like, you still had it. So I would say the first time I released music and noticed that I didn't have a speech impediment anymore at all was, I would say, 2014 2014, 2015.
Oh, wow.
And I had the surgery around 2012.
Wow.
So it was a solid 2 years of practicing in the mirror. I didn't have a speech pathologist. Like I didn't have anybody working with me.
Right.
It was just sheer drive and like looking in the mirror. And what's funny is like I did 3 back-to-back shows this weekend, and my tongue will swell up. My throat swells up, my tongue and my jaw, because even though they cut my tongue, I still struggle with making sure that the placement of my tongue doesn't fall to the side. So it was constantly forcing my tongue to stay forward while singing, while playing, while doing all these things.
You're aware of that.
So
yeah, that's got to be difficult, man. I mean,
yeah,
it's not like, you're speaking, you're singing, and when you have to mouth, different notes and stuff, it's and then have that in your head to pay attention to. I can just imagine what you've gone through. But look at you, and you're an actor too. So you touched on the acting bug, right? You got the acting bug. You were in this short film here, 12. It's a series.
Yes.
By Stormlight. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that was a couple years back. Logan Peterson is a director out of Nashville. I ended up actually going to high school with him.
Really?
So we grew up in the same high school.
Wow.
He pursued, being a director and more of the show and movie production aspect of it. And I, approached more of the performance aspect of it. So we had linked up in Nashville and had, been grabbing drinks and hanging out for a few years being in Nashville. And then he finally put out this open audition for a series he was working on. So I was really quick to jump on it, and I got one of the lead parts as Michael. And, really, really short series, but it did show me I had a lot of fun with it. It showed me that this is something that I want to pursue. And it goes back to just, I get compared to Justin Timberlake all the time, from the acting to the music, the vocal style. So now, Justin, if you're watching this out there, like, hit me up, bro, because I'm like the next you. All right. I even got the curly hair.
There you go. All right. Let's take a look at your acting in 12. Here we go.
In like 90 days. See, it gives me notification, tells me every time I match with somebody, that kind of thing.
Who even wants to hear that?
I think it's awesome.
Are they selling that data, you think?
Yeah, probably.
That's gotta be bad. Psychologically.
What do you mean?
It's gotta have some kind of negative effect on people to have such a short attention span about relationships.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Are they around, guys?
Yes, we would.
Yes.
That's a nice watch.
Oh, thanks. It was a gift.
From a girlfriend?
No, a graduation present.
What? He does have a girlfriend, though.
That's too bad.
I don't have a girlfriend. The fuck, man?
She never would have said that if I was single. Women just know somehow you're in a relationship.
Maybe I should put that on my profile. Start a dialogue.
You're natural, man. You're a natural actor. Did you get any formal training or anything like that?
I went to a Boston a master class in Boston, and when I was younger, and I realized that I sucked, and that if I really wanted to pursue this, I had to stop sucking. So that was my first formal training as an actor, of just stop looking like that on camera, start being more natural. And then with time, I ended up working with Zane Stevens a little bit down in Atlanta after the film, just with a little bit of formal training behind camera, because my training comes from musical theater.
Sure.
So everything there is like very jazzed up and bouncy and so big with the eyes and everything, and singing and dancing. And, I went and saw Jersey Boys in New York City when I was, I think, 17. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do, man. Don't worry about music. Don't worry about being behind camera. I'm going to go be the next, like, Frankie Valli. So,
hey, look, you can't
training.
leave your music, man, and you're composing. Tell me about this this organization. You compose music for
the Scorekeepers.
Scorekeepers. Yeah. What's that all about?
So the Scorekeepers is a sync licensing library where essentially, like, anytime you're watching any commercial, a TV show, a movie, Netflix, NFL Network, they're always using either an instrumental song or a song like Demons or Slowly. So they're looking for a specific sound that, you know, helps base an emotion or a scene. And that's where my music kind of like falls into play. So I have quite a few songs in their library that's waiting to get placed. I have a song with M Vibe. I have songs in the library with Audio Sparks.
Oh, cool.
And then I'm in talks with Morrison Young and Who's the Boss. So those are all sync licensing companies that license your song to put on anything commercial, TV, movies, Netflix, anything like that.
Very nice, very nice. And what do you got? What do you got coming up? Like, I mean, obviously you're doing these tour dates for Slowly, but and like you said, you wrote a lot of songs. Is it something that you're just keeping churning out music, and you're just pushing it out there?
Yeah. So the goal would be keep releasing singles, and then when sync license kind of starts hitting and people more know my song from watching that show or like, oh, I caught that in a movie, then probably put together an EP. And I'd like to talk to labels, but you know, it's kind of the year of the indie artists, coming out. If you can own your master and write the songs and make money doing it, like,
a lot
more power
of people
to you.
doing that. Yeah, a lot of people doing that, and I think you know, you're hitting it from all angles. I mean, look at you, you're even acting. I mean, you're and you're producing. You're producing music videos and so, you know, getting your song out there, you know, in the lyric sense and video. You're hitting it from all different angles, which is going to be great, and you're putting it on your YouTube channel, and I think that you know, that's going to be awesome, man. I mean, hey,
thanks, man.
Yeah,
I think for a long time it was like everyone waits for their moment,
right?
And everyone, you prepare for your moment. You prepare for that meeting with Universal and with Atlantic, and like, you know, how are you going to compete with Bruno Mars when you're there? And you know, that goes through your head, and that's what went through my head for 10 years, man. It was like preparing, and don't release a song because when the label wants you, you're going to have that song ready to go. And I finally realized no one's ever going to know my name if you never release music. So this was the past year, even through COVID, it was like, no matter what happens, keep writing your book, man. Keep writing that story, because you never know who's going to be listening. You never know, you know, who that song is going to affect or touch or anything. So now I'm just releasing, man.
You got to keep moving forward, and that's crucial in content producing and anything you do, especially with music. But hey, Dom, man, it was really, really fun talking to you tonight on Buzz Talk Live, and I appreciate you hanging in there, you know, in the dark of night. And did you get to your destination safely and everything?
We got home, man. The baby's back inside sleeping. You know, we had no big issues. Good. And my shoulder, from holding the angle, I don't even need to go to the gym today, man.
You're holding it out there, right? Thanks, man.
Got to get the right angle.
Yeah, I appreciate you stopping in, and look, just count to 5, and now you can take your phone down. All right. Thanks for stopping in.
Thanks, brother.
Amazing. So yeah, I mean, Dom was he's hitting on all cylinders, especially in a 6-cylinder SUV or something. I don't know what he's driving, but great. You know, it was great to hear his story and how he advocates for bullying and the whole gamut of his life unfolded in that you know, somebody's hero. So go check that out. It's online. Just Google it, and it's a really great little short film by Zane Stevens. So check in on that. And also tune in next Sunday night. I'm going to have another young guest. He goes by the name Shane V. He's about 18 years old. He's a young filmmaker out there in Hollywood. He's a new face, and he's going to be here on Buzz Talk Live. He shot a documentary about it's a mob documentary about Michael Francese, who is in, I think, the Colombo family, whatever, but he was depicted in Goodfellas. And he made this documentary, really, really well done at such a young age. And he's also a talk show host. So check in again on Sunday night, right here on the Buzz Talk Live show at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That's all for tonight. Look me up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content if you like this. And I'll be more than happy to go forward and to give you more Buzz Talk Live moments and interviews with some of the great interviews that people have stopped here on the show and spotlighted their career. So tune back here on Sunday night, right here on the Buzz Talk Live show at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Thanks again for tuning in, and good night, America.